Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the 41st edition of the Hodlnots Weekly Warm-Up. I'm John,
I'm Vicky.
and let's get into some of the crypto headlines making news over the last couple of days.
And what's on everyone's tongue at the moment is the Clarity Act. So, the Clarity Act has been in the news because the Clarity Act has passed the Senate Banking Committee. So, a few days ago, the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, or Clarity Act for short, made some progress in the Senate. The bill has advanced out of the Senate Banking Committee despite strong opposition from some of the lawmakers and bankers. For the Clarity Act to fully pass the Senate, though, it must be merged with a separate version advanced by the Senate Agricultural Committee and reconciled with the House's version. Afterwards, it has to pass the Senate floor with a 60-vote supermajority. As a reminder, the Clarity Act is a major US digital asset market structure bill that establishes a clear regulatory framework for the cryptocurrency industry. It clarifies the jurisdictional split between the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the CFTC, which is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and mandates standards for token classification and stablecoins. So it's passed a little bit of it. It has to pass a lot more of it. And the market didn't really respond that much at all. So that's why we trade what we see.
Absolutely. On that same vein, there's been talk for quite a while now that well, the altcoin season is here. The altcoin season is starting. Well, is it quietly starting up? Well, according to crypto analyst Darkfast, it says that the macroeconomic uncertainties surrounding the ongoing US and Israel-Iran war has seen the altcoin sector correct by more than 50%. However, the sector appears to be quietly awakening as a percentage of altcoins on at least Binance trading above their 200 moving average on the day has increased by 21%. So 21% of altcoins are above their 200 moving average on the day. These levels were last seen in September of last year, suggesting that investor interest in altcoins appears to be gradually returning. Now, Dark Horse also cautioned that it's still way too early to call for an alt season, as the metric remains below the level seen in middle of last year and in the fourth quarter of 2024, when most altcoins traded between 60 and 80% of all altcoins traded above their 200-day MA, or their again the 200 moving average on the day, right? That you guys remember the season when everything was running and it was great until the middle of last year? And then we've seen a dive since then, not just Bitcoin. Seems to be gradually returning. Meanwhile, fellow analysts Crypto on Chain pointed to rising activity on centralized exchanges as another sign of increasing momentum in the altcoins. According to the analyst, altcoin trading volumes, excluding the five largest cryptocurrencies, i.e., altcoins, has increased steadily over the past few weeks. Now, we've seen that, right? Now, the 90-day alt season index, something new for all of you, has also climbed to 28.6, the highest level in months. This index tracks whether a majority of altcoins outperform Bitcoin over the last 90 days. Okay, so 28.6 out of 100 of the last 90 days. Now, although the index has been recovering, its value of 28.6 means only 28.6% of the top 50 cryptocurrencies by market cap have outperformed Bitcoin over the last 90 days. This falls short of the 75% alt season threshold, according to Blockchain Center. So what does that mean? Out of the top 50 cryptocurrencies by market cap that are altcoins, when 75% of those are outperforming Bitcoin over 90 days, that is what alt season is classified. Now, these also include Zcash, ZEC, BitTensor, and Morpho, which are up 98%, 72%, and 68% over the last 90 days, compared to Bitcoin's 17% gains. So, a little bit of information there for you, ladies and gents. While things might slowly start to be turned around, we're not officially in altcoin season yet. And looking in the markets today, in the last couple of days, let's trade what we see.
We have been trading a few alts. We've had some great alt runs, including those three. So our Hodlfire graduates have been looking at those, if not trading them. But as for Bitcoin, it lost about $4,000 since last Thursday's evening peak of about 82,000. So it basically, when the Clarity Act announcement was put out on social media, it went up a little bit to 82,000, but it really went right back down to about 76. And I think at the moment it's trading around 77. So you can show everyone in a bit. And as you mentioned, the larger caps are also quite sluggish. So we're not seeing the large altcoins run. We're seeing the smaller altcoins run. But that's exactly right. We have learned to trade what you see. Don't listen to any of the announcements that come out of anywhere, good or bad, and just trade what you see. Trade what's running on the day. So you can show everyone in a bit what Bitcoin's doing.
Absolutely. And you guys will see exactly where it hit those points and why it was rejected and where we're finding support. But more on that a little later. Some of you might have heard of the cryptocurrency platform Forsage or Forsage. Now, Forsage co-founder has been extradited to the US over an alleged $340 million US dollars crypto Ponzi scheme. So this co-founder of Forsage has been extradited to the US, where prosecutors accuse her of participating in an alleged $340 million crypto Ponzi scheme. Now, the Ukrainian national Olena Oblamska has appeared in federal court in Oregon after arriving in U.S. custody earlier this month, where she pleaded not guilty to conspiracy to commit a wire fraud. Now, federal prosecutors allege Forsage presented itself as a decentralized investment platform built on Ethereum, BNB Smart Chain, and Tron, while actually operating through a structure that rewarded earlier participants using money from newer investors. Right, no one's above the law, believe me.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to hear about those kind of Ponzi scheme things where the early adopters get paid by the late adopters, so the late adopters don't get anything. And it's really disappointing to hear that, but there's a lot of it going on. And the authorities really need to crack down on that. And glad to see that they are cracking down. And someone else who is cracking down is back in Australia. So the New South Wales, which is a state in Australia, their police force pulled off one of Australia's largest Bitcoin busts in history. So the New South Wales police have seized 52.3 Bitcoin, valued at approximately 5.7 million Australian, during a raid in Ingleburn in Sydney Southwest, where authorities describing it as one of the largest crypto seizures in Australian history. The operation was carried out as part of an investigation into alleged darknet marketplace activity. So the seizure formed part of Strike Force Andalusia, an investigation launched in September 2024 after the New South Wales Police Cybercrime Squad identified a cryptocurrency wallet believed to contain proceeds linked to darknet transactions. Earlier inquiries included a raid at a Surfside property where detectives seized electronic devices, around about 7.2 grams of cocaine, and cryptocurrency worth roughly 47,000 Australian dollars. So the authorities are making ground on illegal use of crypto. I just really wish they would not mix it with the valid use of crypto. I think they need to make that decision and that differentiation very soon. Not all of us are trying to flout the law.
No. But
Mm.
as we're seeing around the world, a lot of people are taking advantage of naive or uninformed, uneducated people in the crypto space. Of course, we've talked about wrench attacks and phishing attacks. There's always going to be a nefarious side to things. A little story linked to that a little later as well, perhaps. But speaking about the world, and we are looking at adoptions, we're looking at regulations coming into play. It's some great news as well is that Italy's largest bank, right? So Europe, we know lots of stories about what's happening in Europe in terms of banks and hedge funds and everybody adopting. But Italy's largest bank more than doubles its crypto holdings now to $235 million in the first quarter of this year. Inteso San Paolo. Italy's largest bank, more than doubled its crypto exposure in the first quarter of 2026, with holdings climbing from approximately 100 million at the end of 2025 to around 235 million as of March the 31st. Now, the bank previously confirmed to cryptovaluta.it that its crypto positions are held for proprietary trading reasons, though it has not disclosed whether any of their assets are also used to hedge products offered to professional clients, the report said. Now, more European banks are moving into crypto, with Spain's BBVA, France's BPCE, and Belgium's KBC among those already live with retail trading services. Spain's BBVA became the first major Spanish bank to offer 24/7 Bitcoin and Ethereum trading through its mobile app, while BPCE, that's in France, launched in-app crypto trading via regulated subsidiary Hexarch, targeting 12 million customers by this year. Great news. A lot more banks are offering retail, that's you and I, opportunities to be able to trade. And so as more of this is happening, more regulations get into place, and things should become smoother, and global adoption should increase as well. Time will tell, guys. Ladies and gents, we're early. Lots of exciting things happening. Back to you.
It is exciting, isn't it? And South Korea. So we give South Korea a little bit of a hard time, but South Korea is actually leading the charge, one of the countries leading the charge in crypto. So good for them. And their ruling party stands firm on crypto tax implementation. So South Korea's National Assembly and Finance Economy Committee member, I'm going to butcher this name, excuse me, Jung Tae-ho from the Democratic Party has emphasized the need to implement the taxation of digital assets as previously scheduled. According to O'Daly, Jung stated that since the tax implementation has already been delayed multiple times, it should now proceed as planned. The party will begin formal discussions once the tax reform proposal is submitted to the committee, with further evaluations on supplementary measures to be conducted during the detailed review phase. This stance marks a shift from Jung's earlier position in April, where he suggested a comprehensive view on digital asset taxation. It also aligns with the government's direction. South Korean finance officials have confirmed that the income tax on digital assets is set to be implemented on January 1st, 2027. So in about, 7 months from now, they're going to have a new tax structure in South Korea.
Well, we've spoken about other stories as well. South Africa, Australia, other countries as well are starting to get a lot more jacked up. Well, good things, right? In the bigger picture, hopefully. Now, going back to what I mentioned earlier in terms of crypto adoption and going back to the US, Israel, Iran war. Now, Iran has launched their crypto-based maritime insurance platform, Hormuz Safe. So Iran has introduced a new maritime insurance platform called Hormuz Safe, designed to provide insurance for vessels navigating the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. According to Foresight News, the platform will facilitate settlements using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, supporters within the Iranian government believe that if Hormuz Safe captures a significant share of the Persian Gulf shipping insurance market, it could generate over $10 billion in revenue. It's an opportunity, I guess. They are controlling the strait. They're implementing a toll called Hormuz Safe now. It is an interesting time, and I'm sure there's a lot of backlash around that, but they see the opportunity in which to, manipulate the straits and have control. Good for them, but at the same time, bigger picture, global war is never good for anybody. That's it with the stories. Let's get into what is happening with the fear and greed index. Is there less fear? Is there more greed? What are the numbers, Vicky? You're currently muted.
So I'm currently muted. So there is more fear again today, and it really makes sense because the market has gone down. So last week it was in the neutral territory actually, and it's now come back into the fear part of the index. And it really follows what the market's doing, so that's not a surprise. So it's like so everyone why though Bitcoin was rejected. It's quite interesting. It's actually what we tell everyone on the Hollow Fire course. to be watchful of. Mm.
Absolutely. Speaking about watching, let's get into a little bit on what Bitcoin is doing, why it is done so. Sure, there are macroeconomic factors and a bunch of other things as well, but we're trading what we're seeing, looking at the data that we have. Now, this is Bitcoin on the daily chart, so you can see there just below 77,000. And 2 weeks ago, when we had our previous Hodlnots weekly warm up, and we were talking about, and we mentioned, yes, it needing to cross up above. We also mentioned that there was some heavy resistance in and around that 82,000. There it is there. In and around this range, 82, 83,000 range. And well, look, you can see how it got rejected, tried again, found support, got rejected, right? And this is where we're at right now. So, sure, last couple of days, the last week of pullback, especially since last week, Thursday. But you can see, and again, Hodlnots, and especially those who've done the Hodl Fire course as well, when we're looking at support and resistance, uh, you can tell where there is some good looking at just in the moving averages and such indicators. Now, if we bring into play, I'm just going to look at that quickly with the Hodl Fire indicator, is you can see exactly what is happening. Right, the trend is up, ladies and gents, over the last couple of months. Seen some really nice recovery. It is a return. It is a little bit of a pullback, and that's okay. It is giving a lot of other people, including the Michael Saylors from Strategy, the opportunity to buy some more, believe it is. But at the moment, what can we expect over this week? Well, I believe we're going to see some consolidation. You're going to have to close back above that 80,000 zone again, and then we're going to start retesting that. So I'm expecting a little bit of turbulence, really. And I think we're going to see Bitcoin turning around. Not, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. A little bit of consolidation over there. Going to retest this, probably bounce up and down a bit. Nothing major, unless it's a major news. Hopefully not of the negative kind, more of the positive. But great opportunities for scalp traders. Everybody else is trading the long term. It's a little bit more frustrating, but we should still see lots of opportunities as well for the hodl fire traders with many coins doing whatever they want. They don't care what Bitcoin is doing. So good luck with that. Scalp traders, you guys should be ready. But for those in the Hodlnots ecosystem and beyond, Vicky, what is in store for everybody in terms of calls?
Big week again today or this week. So we are having a different start to the week this week with an espresso chat. So if you don't know what those are, if you are in the lodge, you can jump on a call and really talk about anything you want. It doesn't have a set topic. It's jump on. We sometimes trade, we sometimes chat about things we're not so sure of. So that is at 11 a.m. UTC today. And the link will be in the lodge for those in the lodge. And if you don't know what the lodge is, once you have done the Hodlnots foundational course, you can join our den, which is where we call coins, and the lodge. They go together. And that is kind of a permanent training room. So if you have any questions, you can ask them there. And that's why we do them in there. So that's called an espresso chat. Tiny little cup of coffee, little hit of information. So that is at 11 a.m. UTC, and that will be followed directly after with a self-paced course call. That is for people doing chapters 1 to 3 who are doing the self-paced course. And then after that, we go to Tuesday, which is the 19th of May, and that is another self-paced call at 5 a.m. UTC. And that is for anyone doing any chapter or module. So you can jump on there and ask your questions if you missed the first one. And that will be followed at 7 a.m. UTC by Wendy's Lodge call. So she has a fun topic out to, this week as well. So jump on there, listen to what Wendy has to say, and that's at 7 a.m. UTC. And then we will be doing our X Spaces again, and John can tell you a little bit more about that. But that X Space will be Tuesday at 11 a.m. UTC, so jump on there. Again, John will tell you about that. And we do follow that with our Hodl Fire graduate support call. So that is at 12 p.m. UTC on the 19th. So that is anyone who has graduated from the Hodl Fire course and is in the graduate chat. We get together and talk about the coins that are running. So we found some fantastic coins the first 2 weeks in May, and they have run phenomenally well, actually. So we just kind of gather together and regroup and say, okay, what's next? So that will be at 12 p.m. UTC on Tuesday. That's the 19th. And then on Wednesday, the first of the Hodl calls, as usual, at 9 p.m. UTC. So that is if you are focusing on scalping, you can jump on there and part of the 3M challenge. And you can ask, again, any questions if you're having problems with what you're supposed to be doing in the dot challenge or really anything, jump on there. And then there will be a Hodl Fire indicator call this week. So this is for anyone who has the Hodl Fire indicator. You don't have to have done the Hodl Fire course to jump on this particular call. And that is at 6 a.m. UTC on Thursday. So not a lot of training goes on that, but we do talk about the coins that could possibly run and why. So that is at 6 a.m. UTC. So if you have the Hodl Fire indicator, you can jump on that one. And then that will be followed by another dot call. And this week, Liesel's doing the dot call. So again, it's always nice to see or hear and see different perspectives on scalping. So that's the Hodl dot call at 7 a.m. UTC on Thursday. And then we were doing another X Space on 10 a.m. UTC on Thursday, which will be followed by another espresso chat. So we're really packing in the calls this week. So the espresso chat will be at 11 a.m. UTC, and then we will end the week with our self-paced course call for anyone that's doing chapters 4 onwards. So if you missed any of that, it's always in the Certified Academy calendar. So you can jump on there and just look at that, and you'll see all of these calls, most of these calls. And then we do have a Hodl Fire course on this week. So on Wednesday and Friday, this course is starting at 6 a.m. UTC. So if you have the Hodl Fire indicator and you're not quite sure how to use it to its best advantage, you can do the Hodl Fire course. And that will be Wednesday and Friday this week, the 20th and the 22nd, like I said, at 6 a.m. UTC start. And it goes for about 5.5 hours each day. And we love doing that because it's not only a good review if you've done the Hodl Fire foundational course, but there's a lot of new information there too that just kind of makes you a better trader. Never mind a Hodl Fire trader, just it makes you a better scalper too. So that is happening this week, Wednesday and Friday. So if John wants to talk a little bit more about those X spaces, that would be great.
Yes, so tomorrow and Thursday, it's an hour. Basically, you tune in like you're listening to the radio, and we get to talk about what's happening in the market, a couple of topics, and some crypto lingo. So if you guys like to join us, we'll pop the link out on all the socials and in Telegram. So you guys can join if you like. Obviously, you need an X account. They're free. Lots of really great social discussions and spaces around what's happening in the crypto industry over on X. All right, so that's it for the week. What thoughts are you leaving with us as we digest and ruminate going forward?
Speaking of digesting, this is the vanilla. And vanilla really gets mocked for being kind of basic and boring, but it actually quietly outsells most of your favorite flavors. And that is kind of like the trader who follows the price trends and the movements and trades what they see instead of chasing hopium and excitement.
Hmm. So most of us are vanilla traders. We're not the razzmatazz, fly by night, quickly make some money, lose everything. Stick with what works. Trade what you see. I like it. We're all vanilla. There we go. Until next week, thanks everybody for joining. It was always great. Hope you learned something as well. And we'll catch you on one of the next spaces happening within the Hodlnots ecosystem. If you, as usual, if you have any questions, but otherwise, do join us next time.